see we're in the kitchen, and that is because I want to share a couple of snacks for you to take to Super Bowl. If you're looking for something a little bit different, I may have a couple of ideas for you, and I'm going to show you how simple this is. I always rely on my crock pot. So I make a lot of dishes that I show you in the crock pot. I don't know what I ever did without one. When I worked, I put everything in the crock pot for dinner before I would leave for work, and then when I got home, it was like magic. I didn't have to cook. Everything was already prepared. So I still rely on my crock pot. And that's what we're going to do today, and especially this one, because when I go to someone else's home for a party, or even when I have it here in my home, then I can just lift this out and serve it in the crock pot and not have to come up with a specific serving dish, or just saves a lot of cleanup. So let's get started. Our first dish is going to be sweet and sour meatballs with pineapple. And this is one of those dishes that you can use as an appetizer. You can even use it as an entree. I have served this dish over rice, and it was absolutely fantastic. Now I'm going to make it with beef meatballs, and I use prepared meatballs. These are Armour's beef meatballs, and they're pre-cooked. But if you have that special family recipe for meatballs, go ahead and use that. But I would cook them beforehand, because mostly what you're going to be using the crock pot for is just to keep the dish warm. You know, get it nice and hot, and then just keep it warm for the duration of the Super Bowl, if they last that long. Let me give you a rundown of all of the ingredients that we're going to use for this particular dish. And after we get this one started, we'll start the second one. So what you're going to need are meatballs. Like I said, I use the prepared ones, but you don't have to. And also, these are beef, and it's just as good with turkey meatballs. So don't be afraid to substitute. You're going to need pineapple, and this is 20 ounces of chunk pineapple. You're going to need cornstarch, apple cider vinegar, soy sauce, and light brown sugar. If you don't have light brown, if you have dark brown, that's fine as well. And you'll need 1 bell pepper. I'm going to begin by putting most of the liquids together, and I'll show you why in just a moment. I'm going to pour out the juice in this bowl. It's the juice from the pineapple. You don't have to remove all of it from the can right now. And this is pineapple chunks in its own juice. Now, don't use the pineapple, or try not to use pineapples that are in the sugary juice, because by the time you get the pineapple juice with the added sugar in it, and then you get the light brown sugar in it, it just gets a little bit too sweet. So I start with this. Then I'm going to add my vinegar, and I need 1/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. We already have our sweet and sour going. So then I'm going to add my soy sauce. And you only need 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Now, if you're a soy sauce lover, then, hold on just a moment, I can't see my there it is. If you are a soy sauce lover, then try it with a 1 teaspoon, and then if you make it again or later on, after you've gotten this put together and tried it, add some more to it. You might even just add it on top of the meatballs. It's so salty though. Of course, you can get the reduced salt soy sauce. I just kind of stick to the original Kikkoman soy sauce. That's my favorite. Now we're going to stir those 3 ingredients, because what I'm going to do now is add the 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. And let me rinse this off. Okay, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. And this cornstarch is going to make the sauce for these meatballs thicker. This is the thickening agent for it. And I'm going to stir that in. Actually, I'm going to whisk that in because I think it will blend together much better. And I know that you're not going to be able to see this. I will try to put a up-close picture in here of me whisking this, and you can see that it's already thickening up. Let's add a half a cup of the brown sugar to our mixture. Now we can add our pineapple and the remainder of any juice that's left in the can. The next ingredient is this bell pepper. I'm using a medium-sized one. If you don't like bell pepper a lot, you might use a half of one or maybe even just a small bell pepper. But I tend to like it, but I didn't want to use one of the giant ones that you can find on the shelves or in produce because I didn't want the bell pepper to overpower the meatballs because then it just tastes like sweet and sour bell pepper, and we don't want that. We want to have sweet and sour meatballs. And that reminds me that also I found when I was shopping for my meatballs, I'm rinsing these off as we go. I found that you can have the turkey, you can have the beef, you can find pork meatballs, but one thing I had never seen until recently is the plant-based meatballs. So if you're eating plant-based, this recipe can be used perfectly with plant-based meatballs because then you have your vegetables all the way around, vegetables and fruit. So I am dicing this bell pepper up into little tiny pieces. Not super tiny, but enough that, you don't just get a spoonful or a forkful of bell pepper. Let's add the bell pepper to our mix, and it doesn't matter if you use the red, yellow, or green peppers. I never have been able to tell any difference in taste, but I do know that I like the color combination of the green with the pineapple, and if you like red with it, that's great. Yellow, you can have yellow pineapple and yellow peppers, go for it. Let's start putting everything together in the crock pot. And you know that I am a huge fan of these Reynolds slow cooker liners because it saves such a mess when it comes to cleanup. So I'm going to put the liner in and see how easy it is. I have the larger crock pot. You can get it, I believe they have two different sizes, the smaller round crock pot liners and the larger ones. So I use it every single time I use my crock pot because there's nothing worse than trying to scrub that crock out in the sink. It weighs a ton. Now I'm going to pour this in. Got that. And I'm going to put in 2 bags of meatballs. Actually, what I did, I was really indecisive about this, about how many I wanted. So what I did was buy the bag that has 40 meatballs and a bag that has 22. So I should have enough. But I didn't want too many that I wouldn't have enough sauce for. Like if I did the 2 of the 40s have been 80 in the sauce. It might have worked. I've never done that before, but have 62 meatballs, and that should be enough. And you can see the size of these meatballs. This is the Armour meatballs. That's a pretty good bite. So I'm going to add those. And one more, almost like a bag and a half. How about that? And then stir and try to cover those meatballs. Oh, I'm glad I did not get the other large bag. I don't know if that would have worked. I think I made a good decision. So I have the 62 meatballs and all of the ingredients, and I'm going to turn this on low for 8 hours, or if you're in a rush and have to be at a party, or you're having a party and say about 4 hours, I put it on high for 2 or 3 hours, and I keep looking out my window because the pool boy's outside. But I'm going to get this started. Now I'm going to start my oven. I'm going to turn it on 300 degrees because we're going to start our next recipe. I'm trying to clean up between one recipe and the other so I'll have space. And if there's any one thing that I would have in my dream kitchen, that would be 2 dishwashers, because I never have enough space for all the dishes. Especially during holiday seasons or when we entertain, it's just a constant rotation of the dishwasher. So I love my bags for my crock pot, so I've got that taken care of. And then I have a cookie sheet that I'm going to use for the next recipe, and I have lined it with aluminum foil for the same reason. I just don't have room for everything. So for this recipe, you'll need the cookie sheet, you'll need a box of Cheez-Its. They're cheese crackers, and this is the 21 ounce. And we'll need olive oil. Let me look at my recipe. I believe it's 1/3 of a cup. It is 1/3 of a cup, and I use extra virgin olive oil. I have 1 tablespoon of dill, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1 package of Hidden Valley Ranch dressing. This is the dry salad dressing and seasoning mix. So we're going to use this entire package. And I brought out the Super Bowl plates and napkins that we're going to use later. Got everything ready for our party. Let's put all of the Cheez-Its on our large baking sheet. And we're going to spread those out. Now, that's a lot of crackers. So I hope I have a lot of hungry people. Let's set this to the side, and we'll get a bowl and we'll start putting all of our seasonings together. So we're going to have 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. We're going to add our tablespoon of dill, our tablespoon of garlic powder, and our package of ranch salad dressing mix. And let's whisk this together. These crackers are called crack crackers, and the reason is because you cannot stop eating them. They're so yummy. I have mixed together all of our ingredients, and now I'm just going to drizzle it over the crackers. If you have not had these crackers, I suggest making a batch for yourself before you take any to a party, because you are going to want to keep the ones you made. You just make a separate batch for everybody else. They're so great. I'm taking a spatula and stirring these and trying to get that seasoning even throughout all of these crackers. And then we're going to put it in the 300-degree oven for 30 minutes. Oh, I wish you could smell the dill and the garlic and the olive oil and the cheese. Oh, so wonderful. They're going to taste, and they're nice and crunchy because they've been in the oven for a while. And I'm going to put these in a bowl and see if we can do this without making too much of a mess. Now, how's that? I'll show it to you in just a moment. I have a few here that tried to escape. Wow, look at this. Everyone's going to love these. They're hot, but delicious. Let me get a plate and a napkin. I'm going to get a few of these, even though they're hot. I'm going to have a couple of meatballs. But I'm going to leave the meatballs on for a while because I want those to get really warm and stay warm. Because remember, I put them in, they were frozen. So, like that. Delicious. You are going to thank me for this for sure. But I hope you enjoyed your Super Bowl. Hope you enjoy any Super Bowl parties you go to. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please tap the subscribe button and follow me on Instagram. Bye.